Welcome everyone. This will be the last session of today. We will be hearing in the presentations. Let's start with the presentations now. I'd like to invite Prakshanda. Space Bouncer is the title of his game. Can you hear me? Thank you. Hi everyone, I already participated in the previous competitions. So I developed a hyper-casual game. Previously I attended with puzzle, but this is now hyper-casual. I already sent you the YouTube video. Can you please share it? Can't you share yourself? I informed Jawhar Hanum about the video link. I sent the link, just a moment, please. Meanwhile, I can explain the game. There is a simple mechanism. There's a ball. To control the ball, you just do a single tap. When you tap once, the ball slows down. When you tap twice, it gets speeder. And some magnets and some other objects are collected by the ball, and we are escaping from the enemies. Actually, at the beginning, it seems to be simple and monotonous, but after certain levels, it changes. And the number of platforms increases, the number of balls increases. We control the ball, but there's a ghost of the ball. We escape from it. And there are some near-missed enemies, etc. After certain levels, there are different tasks. And there are 27 different tasks after the tasks are completed. The ball is starting from the very beginning, but the difficulty level increases. It is hyper casual, and there is no marketing work yet. This is the first time it's introduced. That's all. Thank you very much for your participation. Brain Game Fine Square. Ilhami Savaş Okur will deliver the presentation. Hi everyone. How are you? The floor is yours. When you're ready, you can share your screen. Let me start the screen. Sharing my screen. Can you see my screen? Our brand is Bar On, and I'm going to introduce now. My first game was a good game. It was Town 1, and Baron is our first card game, which is specifically designed for education. And at the cross-platform, it produced there are two kinds of games which are developed for Android and for online platforms. There is a mathematical model behind the game. It's a unique mathematical model, and it has a universal potential because there is this has a specific structure which may produce hundreds of games. It's a kind of a basic one. When you browse brain card game in Google, there are such results, and these are the graphics and analysis. You can see the results. The card is the card games are possible to be turned into many other games. There are many card games. One of them is Rummy, and there are many different kinds of algorithms within the games. I cannot take the screenshot right now, but I want you to examine the game. This is how to play the game. 3 cards are selected. On the right-hand side, the cards are ours. What is required from us is to achieve the total squares of the figures here. This system requires a strategical way to achieve the result. If you have time, please go and watch the video. We're out of time, by the way. Thank you. The game is going deeper, but it's practical and it's a brain forcing game. Thank you. Draft of Darkness, Berker Sanmaz. This is the third game. Hi. Can you please speak louder? Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Berker Sanmaz. As Trolled Games, I am the single developer of Draft of Darkness. It is a game consisting of fear and survival elements. And in the simplest sense, it is a combination of Resident Evil and Lady Spine. In the Draft of Darkness, there are some classical elements, and you are trying to find your path in darkness, and it's the discovery phase, and there is also a fighting phase. You select a hero at the beginning of the game, and that hero only uses certain guns, and you then start to discover some maps. You just solve some puzzles, and you are overcoming your enemies, and you're trying to discover the skills of the enemies. And the puzzles are quite similar, and these are randomly created in the events. And in Draft of darkness, the resources are restricted. And when you are face to face with an enemy, then it's time for fighting. There are certain ammunition, you need to keep them and you need to use them efficiently. And you can also win some other ammunition like gas bomb, etc. And at the same time, there are some equipment, clothing and weapons to customize your character. And with those, you're trying to survive. In the Draft of Darkness, after each run, there are some selections that you make. And after every run, actually, you draw a map for yourself. And after every run again, there are booster packs, which will give you new starting cards. And so you shape your next run with that, and new heroes and team mates come to you. Now it's in the Steam channel, and the feedback I got until now are quite good. It's due to restricted marketing options, we couldn't reach to a high number of players, but we achieved the audience to some extent. I'm trying to make the game to full version. My plan is to make the game available for early access for 1 year. Thank you very much. I think Ashraf is not here. Pablo Santana is not here. Then we can continue with farewell note. Carl, thanks.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen? Yep. Alrighty. So let's get into this. All right. Hope everyone's doing well. My name's Kyle Banks, and I'm here to talk to you about Farewell North. So just given the limited time for this pitch, I'm just going to get right into some footage, and I'll give you a bit of an overview of the game. So Farewell North is a third-person, non-combat exploration game about mental health and relationships, set in a beautiful yet isolating landscape where your goal is to restore color to the world. So the game centers on you, the border collie, which is the dog there, and your relationship with your human companion. And you set off through the Scottish Isles on a personal journey after a traumatic experience. The gameplay consists of exploration, light puzzles, and stealth elements, and it really focuses on mood and atmosphere over any kind of intense or difficult gameplay. It's definitely on the casual side and meant to be approachable, more of a relaxing game. So you'll see a lot of this footage is showing off visual effects, and these are generally meant to be representative of the human character's emotional state. So her state drives the gameplay mechanics, and it's up to you as the dog to help her see the beauty in the world again. So the one-liner is that it's a game about restoring color to the world. That's the whole objective of the game. But I think we can give that description a little bit more depth. So the game focuses on 3 core pillars, which are mental health, relationships, and exploration. So as I mentioned, you play as the border collie for the most part, and the central element of the game is the relationship between the 2 characters. This is really what drives everything else. So the story, the visuals, the gameplay mechanics, everything serves to sort of enforce the relationship between these 2 characters. And each character has unique abilities. You have to kind of coordinate both of them. And yes, even though you play as the dog, you can pet the dog because that's everyone's first request. So mental health is portrayed through visual effects, monsters, and puzzle design. So the core idea of the game is that the visuals represent the woman's emotional state. So monster designs tend to be personifications. You can see like that hand monster there. And the puzzle designs tend to be focused on how mental health can be a blocker for us. And finally, we have exploration. So you can explore not just the islands, but the ocean between them as well. So you can canoe through this sort of open world. There's, of course, the 2 visual modes, the colored world and the uncolored world. And that gives a lot of opportunity to explore secrets and different mechanics in each. So if we put this all together, we get this description. It's a third-person, non-combat exploration game about mental health and relationships set in a beautiful yet isolating landscape where your goal is to restore color to the world. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'll be happy to answer any questions or chat if you want to get in touch. You can see my email and my Twitter handle there. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Thank you. I will show you now my screen. So, hello, my name is Alejandro Parra. We are Dark Quixote Studio, and we want to share with you Habits. Habits is a cyberpunk game that focus on two different aesthetics. One is from 2.5D and the other is 2D. Why? Because we have two different gameplay types, a platformer and an adventure game. Think like Grim Fandango, Monkey Island, etc. These two aesthetics and gameplay types are connected with a story where programs are living in a simulation that is facing the end of the world, the apocalypse. So you will play as lead, a purposeless program that must face her past mistakes since it's her direct fault that the world is falling apart. What you will find in Habits, besides the main story, are side quests and also side activities to do on Habits Town. And also you will have to fight several difficult bosses. And also you will have to explore this platformer game, focus on survival and also on changing dresses. Also, you will find to advance in the game, you will have to switch between both worlds and change between dresses to advance the story. And at the end of facing the end of the world. You can also find us already. The first part, the prologue, we have it on Steam. It's free to play. And I would love to, if you could check it out. And well, we are Dark Quixote Studio. You can find us on Steam. And well, thank you for your time.
We are trying to keep things simple in order to engage more the player. In each level, you play with one of the three trinkets, and basically you are reliving the memories of the main protagonist. And each of the 3 trinkets has got unique mechanics. So for example, the tin soldier is more like an action one. I can shoot down things, grapple to metal objects, parachute, while the Batorigami can thin himself to slide under doors or explore new passages, can double jump. And the wooden boat is more like explorative type of gameplay, it's more static one. And we've got this like cartoonish and stylized art styles, very simple, it's like a watercolor type of effects. And basically we are aiming to create something that's simple, that's made with love and made in Italy. And also we are trying to add some cultural elements to the game in order just to engage more the players from all around the world. Yeah, and this is all. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. You can start sharing your screen.
Is it working?
Yes, we can see it clearly.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Csaba Bak from NK Studios, and today I'm going to show you Ultimate Space Commando Counter Force, which is a turn and squad based top-down view RPG-like strategy game with fully interactable maps and also with a very complex combat system. So I have my team here with all the weapon types, ammunition, equipment, and so on. I can change the name, the picture of my Marines, but let's go to a mission to show you some things. I mean, this game is inspired by the old classics like Laser Squad, UFO, Space Crusade, Incubation. Now you can see here the map, which is random generated. This whole game is action point based, so you can choose which Marine would you like to go with. Of course, they need action points to do the move or the attacks. As you see here, it's fully destructible, the whole map. Other things are that it has a relevant light and darkness mechanics, and also swarming AI, alien AI. So, for example, I can come here with my Marine, jump through this barrel to help out. So I can move things on the map in order to protect myself or to defend the aliens. So now the game is on alpha stage. That's why we don't have sounds, but we have different biomes like the planet surface. I'll show you in a second. This, I made a little dev trick to show you the whole map, all the lights and everything around it. And so I'm gonna give the turn to the aliens. So they're gonna come here and try to attack me. That's it about the game for now. Please wishlist it on Steam, and thank you very much for watching.
Thanks a lot for joining. Jürimize geçebiliriz.
We can return to our jury now. We have given Çatak. We have Meriç Oureureka and Cansu. We're not going to vote the Moonlander, right? Yeah, he was here, but I think he left or he dropped off. Since we didn't have the presentation, if Ms. Cevher approves me, I'm gonna have to disqualify him. And that was the Kardak game. The producer said they would come, but they're not here. Yes, they're not here. Okay, that's pretty much it then. All right, welcome again. I'd like to get the evaluations now. I'd like to give the floor to Professor Given. Oh God.
Tutorial levels, maybe it has already, but maybe overall the interface could be better, I think. Then we have the brain game. Brain game is promising because I think there's a huge audience for those kind of, let's say, brain games, but it should be it should be much more attractive. Like if we compare to the games on, let's say, App Store, it is now a bit poor in that sense. So it should develop really its graphics interface, that juice, let's say, in general. Draft of Darkness. Okay. Draft of Darkness. Well, yeah, I find this game very, let's say, brave, because it's that actually that hybrid genre is really popular these days, like using the card mechanics, etc. And the team is trying something new, a bit new, which by trying to merge a Resident Evil with the card mechanics in a much more in a like a 3D-ish environment. So I think it's promising. Then we have the Farewell North. Well, I really like the concept. I think that the let's say the starting point of the game is based on emotional issues. So I think it is, and trying to turn this issue into a game mechanic, I think is also very, very promising. And especially for the, like when we look at the indie games, like, I mean, when we find those kind of concepts in indie games, I think that's it's those games are like putting another brick in the wall. So thank you for that. And overall, the atmosphere is also really fits the concept. Habits, I think it also has its it also has some interesting components, but maybe having like trying to play two different genres, two different gameplays could be a bit confusing for the player. I haven't played the game. That's just the first impression. So I mean, I hope it works out. And then we have An Everyday Story. An Everyday Story is also very promising, and I really like the art style. But in the gameplay, I couldn't find that maybe sketchy, that artistic style. I know those are sketches, but they look even better, to be honest. Maybe if you could find a way to, because as far as I said, as far as I remember that you said that you wanted to be a simple kind of like a natural game, maybe a humane game. So maybe focusing on that sketchy look and feel will be better, or even trying to integrate that, I don't know, look and feel into that would be better. But I think it's overall an interesting game. Well, Ultimate Space Commando is definitely a game I would like to try as a guy who likes the old school games. So it really has that look and feel definitely, and it looks like a good turn-based game, like Marines versus Aliens kind of stuff. And also seeing, the camera component is really interesting. Like you are seeing what's going on in that top view. So it also adds a tension, I think, even if it's a turn-based game. The interface could be a bit much more simpler. So that's it. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you all.
Meriç Ourereka'le devam edebiliriz.
Let's move on with Meriç Ourerek'a. I am recent here. I am a novice. Let's move on with the other jury members, and I'll speak the last. Of course, Professor Emek, let's move on with you. I was planning to do what Mr. Meriç did. No, just joking.
Very deep in story, and the graphics are very good, and I almost agree with most of views of Mr. Güven, and but for me, I have some very I don't have deep notes for every game, but especially for Space Bouncer, maybe I can say that I think it needs some quite, how can I say, some much more interesting design tips, or some new kinds of attractive things maybe in the game. I wanted to see much more some different types of gameplay things or gameplay aspects in the game, but I couldn't find. I don't very much understand about something about brain game. I hope maybe it's better to listen much more about the game. But the others, especially Draft of Darkness and the others, are quite very, very interesting games. They have deep stories, and some of them are very good graphics. I really want to download and play those games. And Farewell, I like the story of the Farewell North. Most of them are emotional games, and maybe this is what I want to see from the games. Maybe I hope this kind of games will be. I can see much more. I can see more those kinds of games, more emotional, more coloring. I think they try a different way of different kind of storytelling. I hope they will be successful, but I like those games, especially Farewell Notes, Everyday Story. Ultimate Space Commando, it's quite confusing for me because I like much more simpler games. But of course, this doesn't mean that it's a bad game. Of course, it's very the graphics are very good. but the gameplay and menu is quite very much complicated for me. Maybe it's better to simplify that. Thank you for all your games. It's very nice to me to see such different kinds of games, especially in terms of graphics and storytelling, narratives. I like those games, and I will definitely play all of them. I already played some of them, but I will try also the others. Thank you for all. Yes, thank you very much. And I appreciate your efforts, your time and your efforts in development of those games. Thank you.
Teşekkürler. Can Sungur.
Thank you. We can move on with Can Sungur.
I think, like other juries, I feel there is something missing in Space Bouncer. What I think missing is the game feel, the movement of the ball, the interactions of the ball with the world. The ball just feels like an animation that you're stopping and making it move, rather than something that's bouncing in space. You know, I think maybe some physical simulations or some ways to enhance the animation could be added to that game. Other than that, I think the core design is okay. It might be, when it comes to hyper casual games, simple feelings and simple design can go a long way. I think Space Bouncer has that, but it also needs a hook, and I think it's right now missing that hook. Brain game, Find Square. I think the game is a mathematics game, no problem with that, but the game is in need of some dire UI improvements, design improvements, to say the least. Other than that, it's a puzzle maths game, so I haven't got much more to add to that. Draft of Darkness. As a streamer and an indie game player, I just purchased that game. So, I think it hit my weak spot, because the combination of the games that were selected just works. I'm following the indie scene and in the market very closely, and Draft of Darkness, I think, has something very good going on for it. The combination of the mechanics and the gameplay, I mean, survival horror games are going good, but one thing I didn't understand, maybe the designer can answer this, and I think this would be a bonus point. When I see the video, I felt like the enemies in the arena were moving when we moved. So that's a mechanic I've seen in a couple of games before, and that's a very good mechanic. So you've got randomly generated levels, you've got a deck building game, you've got an inventory thing. So yeah, I think this might be, a very good game. So yeah, congratulations on that. Another game, Forever North. Yeah, the colorization mechanic. Also, I think I remember seeing it in a lot of games before. I think there was this game jam winner called Hue, which was also about colorizing the world, but somehow I think you have combined the storytelling aspect with the mechanic, and playing with the dog, playing with the owner of the dog, going through a mental trauma. These are things I have really seen before in games, but I think you have combined them in a unique way and created something different. I think Forever North can be the highlight of I don't know, this year, or when it comes to emotional indies. Sometimes you hit the core, but of course you have to play to that to understand. But I think Forever North is also going places. One thing that was missing for me is, how does the colorization mechanic work? I mean, I saw the the circles opening around the dog and the player to colorize the world, but are we what are we achieving to colorize the world? That part was missing in the presentation. And I think that's a very important aspect of this game. Are we just traveling? Are we I don't know, managing our emotional state? Are we discovering things so that it makes us feel better and the circle gets better? I don't know. How do we color the game? Maybe that could have been a part. Habits. Now, that was a crazy looking game. So congratulations on that. That's very brave. When it comes to indie games, in the last couple of years, we have seen a lot of games that look, stylized in the same way, but Habits, I think it went a bit underground. I think indie games have reached a part where we see more underground, more rough games in the lately years. Habits is, I think the most striking part was the art style. What we were playing in the game, that part I could not really understand. But the intentionally, rough art style was something different. Let's see how that turns out. An everyday story. I think I agree with Güven Hoca on that. As a game player, I also felt some disconnect in the art style and the design. I think you were going to go a place and not nearly there yet. Of course, this is still in development, but since as a jury, we cannot be consuming the story right now, we at least could see what the visual representation of the story world is like. And I think that needs a bit more work on that, but I think a person with a more visual training could explain more on that aspect. Ultimate Space Commando, before I watched the presentation, it looked like a lot of the top-down turn-based tactical strategy games. I've seen a lot of those on Steam, but the camera aspect can be the hook of this game, because seeing the first-person world created in this 3D environment, watching from the eye of the soldier, and maybe when the level ends, there can be some kind of a narrative of each soldier in the level. I think you can go. That was the real hook for me there, because I play a lot of games like this. This is coming as a consumer. That was a very interesting part of the game for me. So yeah, thank you all for listening, and thank you all for coming with these games today.
Teşekkür ederiz. Meriç Hocam, sizinle devam edelim.
Thank you, Meriç. We can continue with you. Thank you very much.
The other judges, the eye candy and the motion aspect, I'm not aware of what I'm controlling in the game, so it needs a lot of graphic work and some overhaul in the motion system probably, but the core idea is there, like John said. Brain game, well, I don't have enough brains to understand a game that complicated, so it needs a graphic design. It's way beyond my IQ, but with some graphic design, I may be a player of that one. Well, Draft of Darkness, although I really don't like the genre, I like the style, I like the idea. Like John said, this model works as well, it sells, but actually a simpler and smaller UI would be much better, I guess, because more than game, I was just checking around the UI. So that's one thing I saw it, and yeah, it will work. It's one of the highlights, as John said, I guess. Farewell North, everything was looking in balance, but I think the colorization of the world, coloring the world part, will need a really excellent balance there, because I think that's the key of how the game will end out. So I was really afraid that there will be a lot of vivid colors just ruining the long darkish environment for me. I hope there will be balance. It needs works on that. Habits, I really do not play the genre either, but 2 gameplays is a very bold choice. Good luck with that. I hope you make it. I hope it works out. And although I'm not really a fan of the style or the genre, I'm very interested in that title. after I've seen the presentation, I think, yeah, I will try it. It looks very interesting. It looks very diverse, very different. It must be checked, at least for me. An everyday story, hands down, all other judges said that. I'll concur with that. It needs some stylization and artwork there. Okay, so there's a balance there between being a game that has simple graphics or being a game that has great environment. So there's a little choice and there's work to be done there. And Ultimate Space Commando, yes, until we have listened to the presentation, I was not really interested in that game. But right now, the camera aspect, as John said, makes everything change. So it's a lot of work. I really respect that work, by the way. It looks great, and it's a working model on business development and sales side as well. I think almost all of these games have places to go. And thank you for sharing your games with us. Hopefully we will be playing their full versions. And thanks to our judges again for letting me joining the team.
Evet, teşekkür ederiz hepinize.
Welcome on board.
Thank you very much for your comments. Then I'd like to invite Jawahar for declaring the first three. I was going to say that, Serdar, you can declare, but as I'm invited, this job is mine. Well, jury members did the scoring. I am registering in Turkish, therefore I'm speaking in Turkish, sorry for that. I'm going to declare the third first. In the first place, the third game is Ultimate Space Commando. The second game is Draft of Darkness, and the first Farewell Notes. The winner is the Farewell Notes. Yes, congratulations to you all, especially the selected games. The winners will be declared at our website. We will help to declare them, announce them at our social media accounts as well. We are trying to contribute to you. The games are really good. I hope that they will succeed. I hope that better games will be developed in the future as well. All the participants can switch on their cams so that we can get a full view of all the participants together. And then we will also hold an offline organization in 2022, and we will invite the winners to that event. Farewell Note is the winner of this especially, and the other games will also be invited. When new innovations or developments are made on the games, you can continue to apply to Indieway. So continue and good luck. Thank you very much for your participation once again. Indieway will continue tomorrow. See you then. See you, distinguished jury members. And thank you very much again, and see you, and goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.